the Buccaneers, your old team here.
Let's go.
All right, this draft they kicked off the right way. They go out and they grab interior. Everyone keeps comparing this guy to Aaron Donald because he wears the pit helmet, right?
Yeah.
But Kalijah Cansey. So hear me out. Undersized defensive lineman in Tampa Bay. And you're thinking about Aaron Donald. I'm thinking about Warren Sapp, my guy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking about. So I'm not saying he is Warren Sapp, but that, the quick, feet and everything. Cansey's a really good pick there. Then they go out and they get Cody Malk, who, is my guy. I interviewed him and we talked about him. You still got the teeth? Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
I remember that interaction we had at one of our shows. I love Cody Malk. I don't care if you play him at tackle. I don't care if you play him at guard. Does he play over Godkey at right tackle? That's the question. I don't know. But does he need to? No, because he could play right guard. He could play left guard, So I think this gives them plenty of options in that room. I thought I wasn't high on Yaya Diaby. I appreciate his story. He's been through a lot. Just from scouting him, I thought he was more of a day 3, 5th, 6th round pick. So I thought that was a little bit of a reach, but if you like the guy, you like the guy. Sir Vassier Dennis is somebody in the 5th round. That's one of my guys. That was a top 10 linebacker on my board. You're a linebacker. I'm excited to get your thoughts on him in a sec. Payne Durham is just kind of a plug and play, tight end 2, tight end 3. You already had Keeft and you had, Cade Otton made significant strides last year. So he doesn't need to do really anything. He could be tight end 3, develop. I would say he's more of a blocking tight end with some, hidden upside in the passing game. And then you look Josh Hayes, DB out of Kansas State. I like that pick. Trey Palmer and Jose Ramirez I really like because first off, Max Crosby put Eastern Michigan on the map when he got picked out of there and became a star. Jose Ramirez has some juice off the edge. And then Trey Palmer is speed, man. You look at Trey Palmer, he's going to add speed to that wide receiver room that has Mike Evans, Russell Gage, Chris Godwin. I think Palmer has a chance to compete for that 4th spot. I think it's wide open. And they added a UDFA and Rakim Jarrett and Kurt Warner's son, Cade Warner. So we'll talk about that, but just kind of going through it, I'm going to give the Bucs a B. I'm going to say they won the draft out of all the teams. They hit those 2 guys hard. They focused on some needs. Also, best player available. They got my guy Servassier Dennis, and they got Trey Palmer and Jose Ramirez. Those are guys that stand out to me. I'm gonna give them a B, Cam.
Okay. I like it, Jake. I'm gonna give them a B plus, right? I'm a little bit biased, Jake, so I'm gonna bump that up to a B plus there. Kalijah Cansey, Jake. I mean, come on, fam.
We talked about it.
They crushed you with that one, right? Kalijah Cansey is not your Aaron Donald, but he went to the Aaron Donald pass rush camp, right? He has the Aaron Donald hologram in the locker room. That's now the Aaron Donald locker room. But Kalijah Cansey, love to see a guy like that, at the Buccaneers. Just kind of going through their defensive lineman. You got William Golston, who's a bigger guy, but you got Vita Vea as well. He's about 6'3", 3 something. So Kalijah and him, they can definitely cause some problems down low there. Akeem Hicks, Patrick O'Connor, and then Raheem Roaches. That's someone as well who's a shorter guy, but very explosive. He uses his hands really well. So I love that addition to the defensive line at the Buccaneers. And then you got great linebackers that sit right behind him as well, Levante David and Devin White. I know Devin White requested that trade there, Jake. So we'll kind of see. We'll see where that ends up.
It's pretty up in the air.
I mean, if I were the Buccaneers, I wouldn't want to let them go either, right?
No, but going out and getting Dennis, that shows at least there's some sort of urgency. Like, okay, in the 5th round, but like Dennis is a good player, and they got 2 pick guys.
There you go. It's a trust thing, right? When you got one guy that's in front of you in Kalijah Cansey, and then you got Dennis behind him, whether that be running the second team or whatever that is, but that just brings in trust. That brings in more energy and juice to that piece. And then you go back to your Dennis pick. I love that pick there, Jake. Right? We mentioned Devin White. We're not sure what that looks like, but Dennis, had a 42-inch vertical, 10.5 broad jump. My man is a monster, missing fewer than 5% of his tackling opportunities. So we go back to your branch from Alabama that got drafted to the Lions. I think he had a 5% missed tackle percentage as well. So guys, if you get sure tacklers, Devin White's a sure tackler, but a guy like Dennis adding another sure tackler to the piece, Levante David, who's a sure tackler, that defense alone is going to be something to reckon with. And then you got Yaya as well, Jake. I mean, he ran a 4.5, so it's kind of tough when a guy runs a 4.5. It's hard to look away from that. And so he ran a 4.5. I think he's gonna definitely, you know, raise some havoc, man. I mean, if I'm Levante David or Devin White, I want to line up on his side because I know he's gonna bring some smoke. So I like that a lot. And then going back to your offensive side, I know we talk a lot of defense. Like I said, a little biased, but your Cody Mauch, I love it. Ryan Jensen, I think, had a pick. The Buccaneers put a picture up of Ryan Jensen, who's a redhead as well, and Cody Mauch, and then like almost like a stepbrothers thing where Cody was here on the picture and then Ryan was
That's
smiling
funny.
right. I was like, this is two redheads. This is what it's all about. But Cody Mauch, straight beast. I seen some of his highlights and some of his tape, especially at the Senior Bowl. Jake, he was holding his own. I mean, he was looking ferocious, my man. So I see why the Rams went up and got him the second round at the 48th pick. So
The Bucks.
sorry, the Bucks. Yeah, the Bucks. So it's good to see with Mauch there. And then going finally back to the bottom of the draft list. You got Jose Ramirez coming out of Eastern Michigan. I mean, they got some guys that can make it happen on the defensive side. And they're just doubling up. I love the Rams. I'm sorry, the Buccaneers and what they did here in this draft. Like I said, I'm gonna go a B plus, Jake. Like I said, I'm a little bit biased, my man. So I'm gonna go a B plus. Love what they did and some of the additions that they made. So I don't think I think they did. I think they did best out of the NFC South when it comes to the draft. I think they did the best here, but I do think they're going to have some problems with the Panthers. Right? The Panthers, I don't think did the best in the draft, but they got Bryce Young, so I think they're going to be the best in the NFC South. But I think the Buccaneers did the best in the draft here.
So they have Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. They have Shaq Barrett. Diaby doesn't have to start right away. I also don't know how they view him. Do they view him as a defensive end? They play more of a 3-4 style. So, probably not. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they utilize him. That was really the one pick that stood out to me. Like, if you could have gotten him the 4th or 5th, I would have been like, okay, The Dennis pick, and I know they didn't have a 4th round pick, but you get my point.
Yeah.
The Dennis pick, though, if it would not surprise me if he ends up being a starting linebacker in Tampa. Payne Durham would not surprise me. He's kind of the type of guy they go after. Really had a really nice Senior Bowl. And then Trey Palmer. I think he's your wide receiver 4. And he's a 6th round pick. So I think the cool thing about it is that they have some consistency in the wide receiver room. They brought back the same guys, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Russell Gage. And they left that 4th spot open for whoever wants it.
Scotty's gone. That's tough. Scotty Miller's gone.
Yeah, that's true. And so, I think we would be remiss to get through this without mentioning your guy, Sean Tucker, who you've been pounding the stump for, fellow Cuse guy.
Let's go.
And his medicals sound like they're the reason why he went undrafted. Clearly this guy, like I had him as a 4th round grade. You had him definitely day 2, I'd imagine. What's his upside here? Like if say the medicals check out and we're talking about, a couple of UDFAs, but we'll start with him. And then I wanted to bring up Rakim Jarrett, and Cade Warner, but, Sean Tucker, where do you see, like, is he a future starter in this league? Like, are you concerned? Like, to me, I think the medicals is just, it's one of those things where in the heat of the moment, missing testing and whatnot, I think teams were more comfortable picking other guys. And this was a deep running back class. So I don't think it is directly reflective on his game. I think when you look at Rachaad White, you have Chase Edmonds, Keyshawn Vaughn, Patrick Laird. I think he can get right up there into that, running back 3 by the end of the year, put himself in position to maybe jump Edmonds next year. And then Rachaad White's probably the guy. And then when he goes and gets paid, then maybe, he steps in and he's the number 1 running back.
Yeah, I see that. I think one thing, I know one thing, running backs, they're going to get hurt, Jake, right? There's going to be a hamstring. There's going to be a concussion. There's going to be a shoulder. I think Sean Tucker, he's going to snap in the offseason. This is what I'm going to call it, Jake. In the offseason training camp, I think preseason, I think he's going to go off, right? He's going to face some of these teams, and you're going to see him on the highlight tape, the highlight reels, because he's going to break about 50-yard runs, 80-yard runs. So I think that's going to happen. I think second, I think he's gonna have to play special teams, Jake. It's something that he probably hasn't had to do in a long time, but he's gonna have to be your personal protector. He's gonna have to sit back there and show that he can handle a special teams unit. He's gonna have to rush some punts. He's gonna have to return some kicks. He's gonna have to do the dirty work, right? The nitty gritty stuff that he's not used to really doing at Syracuse. So I think he's gonna have to do those things. But you mentioned the way he's going to climb up that running back room. I think it's going to get done. Like I said, I think he's going to stay healthy, and he's going to have to stay healthy come the preseason. Though that's the only way to combat some of those things. So if he stays healthy, I think he's going to go off, and I think he will be your Rams. Sorry, your Buck. I keep talking about Rams.
You played for both teams twice. So.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate that. Sean Tucker will be the Buccaneers preseason MVP. That's how well he's going to play. That's how he's going to be the preseason MVP. And when the season starts, there you go. If he stays healthy, he will be the Buccaneers preseason MVP. And I think going into the season, they're going to be like, damn, should we start him? I know we got this other, but should we start him? I think that'll be his storyline.
I like that. And it sucks anytime you go through that process and you get hurt, but I think he's obviously maintaining a positive attitude. He's already signed and everything. Real quick, we don't have a ton of time, but Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask. Okay. Baker Mayfield, to me, he starts no question over Kyle Trask. I was surprised the Bucs did not go after a quarterback. Where were you on that? They don't even have another quarterback on the roster. They didn't even sign anybody. So were you a little surprised? Do you think Baker could get maybe a longer term deal after this year? Is that the goal here?
Yeah, it sounds like Baker might be that guy there. Kyle Trask, I'm not convinced he is at the moment. But I would say too, during the offseason leading up to the season, I think there's going to be some type of movement. Free agency, I know Carson Wentz is still out there. There's going to be some type of movement because it's not adding up right now. So I think Baker Mayfield, he's going to step into a bigger role, and I think there's going to be something that's going to happen in the offseason where they're going to bring a guy in and then have them play as well.